To our panelists, we have two panelists here today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves shortly. First of all, I am not Nicholas Mankari. I am BJ Engelhart. I'm the Senior Director for Career Services here at Illinois Tech. Thank you all for being here today. So for those in the room who just joined us, we've been having a career boot camp today to assist our students and some of our graduating students to prepare for the working world. Now that you're done with finals for your fall semester, this is really the time to be thinking about these sort of things. So we're definitely going through a lot of things here, and I think we're going to have a great panel from a couple of our alumni who have, well, hopefully 3 of our alumni. We got 2 of them here who graduated in the past couple years to talk about their early career experiences. I want to, since I've got my own window open today, I want to show for our panelists. We've also got about 20 people in the room. Say hi. And, all right. So we got a lot of people to talk to. Okay. So I'm gonna stop my video there. All right. I'm gonna have my panelists, Heather and Ali, introduce themselves and tell us about what you are up to right now professionally. So Heather, you want to get us started?
Sure. Do you want me to tell what what degrees I earned and when I graduated and all that jazz as well?
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Fantastic. Hi, everyone. I'm Heather. I graduated in May of 2021. I got an undergraduate degree in chemical engineering, a specialization in energy, environment, and economics, and a master's in environmental engineering. So with all that under my belt, I first took a job at Wilden as an energy modeler. And so basically I modeled buildings to be more energy efficient. After being there for about a year, I decided I didn't like what I was doing, which is very normal. And I transitioned to UL, which is Underwriters Laboratory. It's a very well-known company. If you have any smartphones or like a charger with you, if you look for the UL in a circle on your charger, that's me. And so I work for their sustainability area now, and I'm working with companies to help decrease their carbon emission by charting it and finding fun ways and creative ways to decrease it. So that's what I do now.
Awesome. Thank you, Heather. And Ali, tell us about yourself.
Hello. Yeah, I am Ali. I was pretty active, I think, in campus life and like some on-campus jobs in IIT. I graduated with bachelor's and master's in CS, and currently working at Granger. I think Granger partners with IIT a lot of times, so maybe a lot of students know about Granger. I work as a software engineer here, and currently I'm in person, so that's good. And yeah, I think I'm in a rotational program, so I rotate in a couple of teams. So I work in different areas like order policies, card and checkout, and basically just modernizing Granger.com.
Awesome, thank you. Okay, so the first question I have for you guys is so tell us about that first post-graduation job search. So you're a student at Illinois Tech, you're trying to find that first job. What did that search look like for you? And what do you think was the key, or maybe there's multiple keys for you finding that first opportunity? So Heather, you want to get us started?
Sure. Since I graduated in May, I started my job search over winter break. And basically I made an Excel spreadsheet of where I was applying, when I was applying, and keeping track of all of that. And a lot of it was networking, which you're probably going to hear a gazillion times. I got my job at Wilden because of a past IIT career fair that I went to, but I was applying on LinkedIn, Indeed. I don't know if you guys still do the 2-hour job search, if you still have that book, but I read that over winter break and I took a whole bunch of notes and I used that a lot. From there, when I was graduating, I had, I think, like 7 or 8 full-time job offers lined up. because I had read that book and I had done a whole bunch of networking. And I had resumes ready to go. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, Heather visited career services several times while in her juniors and senior years. So she was definitely a 2-hour job search fan. So that was great. Ali, what was your experience like?
Yeah, I think I also visited you a couple of times for my resume review. I scheduled 30-minute slots, and that was pretty helpful. But I think there are multiple keys. I think you should also like ask follow-up questions. I was thinking while Heather was speaking on what did I do and what did I do wrong when I was doing my job search. But I think the key is to apply as early as possible. If you are looking for full-time, make sure if you're early in the career, make sure that we get that internship opportunity so that we have some experience lined up before we start full-time. So that helps because whenever we are applying to companies, for full-time especially, they look for some internship experience, or sometimes the internship experience helps convert that to full-time. So that helps if you're early in the career. But what I think I did wrong was I was applying to all these jobs incorrectly, which I figured out after a very long time that I was not applying to these jobs correctly. I was just looking up on Google, or I'm looking up on Indeed, on LinkedIn maybe, and I'm just applying to like 5 or 10 companies a day and just selecting options, yes, no, and then just submitting and uploading the resume. But I think the key is that IIT Career Fair or any other career fair is like kind of a shortcut because you have that one-on-one interaction. So you can actually pitch yourself, and then you can talk about what projects you have worked, and then make sure like just connect with them so that they know you, and then they can offer you an interview, because at a time they receive like hundreds of applications, and when you have that in-person connection, I think it really helps. That's what I figured when I was in IIT attending this career fair, because we were able to pick a lot of students from IIT to the career fair, and we never looked at online applications. So maybe the key is to attend as many career fairs as you can. Networking, as Heather said, is very important, because if you know a lot of people, they can just directly give you an interview offer, or they can directly give you the in the first, they can pass you the first, they can help you pass the first round. And then also I've heard that from my friends that the conferences, like especially SWE conference or the SHIP conference, they really help when you're applying, because all these big companies are there, and then they have their own career fair, and big companies attend these career fairs. So as many opportunities as you get to attend these career fairs, just go for it. And I believe that one or some opportunities will click to you, and then you will get some interview offers, and then you'll have that first round cleared. Another thing is that be prepared when you get an interview. It's not like that you get an interview and then you start studying. If you have time, you should, like in winter break, especially in summer break, prepare how the interviews happen, what is the process, and just read through it, so that when the interview comes, you just give your 100% and then get the job.
Awesome, thank you, Ali. So Ali said some really great things about the importance of doing like in-person events like career fairs. Now, Ali, did I hear that right? That you said Granger was only looking at resumes from career fairs?
Yeah, so yeah, we mostly, like for entry-level positions, we only do career fairs or referrals within the company. So if I refer anyone, they will reach out to them or to career fairs. That's the only way.
So career fairs and referrals.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and I know there's a lot of other career fairs that go on in Chicago. So you gotta, do your research, stay on top of those things. We definitely try and push those things out when we find out about them. But I those are really great experiences to have, like a formal networking experience where you're having to connect with people. And Ali also mentioned the professional conferences, which everybody's able to go to. You can go to the SHIP and SWE conferences, which are all over the country, but they're got a lot of great companies that attend those events. So those national student conferences are really valuable too. So thanks for those. Those are really great points. So my next question is, so for new graduates, what should they be looking for in their first post-graduation offer? What type of things should they be thinking about? When those offers come through, how should they kind of weigh the pluses and minuses of those opportunities, or compare the different opportunities? Now that you've been working for a couple years, what do you think is kind of the important things to think about? Heather?
So the most easiest thing that everyone thinks of is money. How much money are you going to get? And another thing is commuting. So when I was originally looking for jobs, I thought that I'd want to commute and I'd want to not work from home as much. And now I have a completely virtual job and I would not give it up for the world. I do not like commuting. I would much rather work from my house than commute an hour one way every day. And some jobs do offer you to like work from home, but might give you a little bit less of a salary, which I would always take, just because to me, it makes more sense taking a little bit less of a salary if you don't have to spend time or money on buying train tickets, buying L tickets, buying parking, paying for gas. So salary is the biggest one. There's also like 401k. I know no one's thinking about retirement because we're in our like 20s. Who thinks about that? But you really need to start saving for that. So what percentage do they match at? And then vacation time. So some companies offer PTO, which is like your vacation time, your sick time, it's all bundled into one, whereas other companies offer vacation time and then sick time separately. So you also want to take that into consideration, and you want to take time off. Even if you're young, you will get burned out if you don't take time off. Take time off. They pay you to literally do nothing. Take time off. So what I did when I had my job offers is I had my spreadsheet and I had them listed down as how much time off I got from each company. What did they match for 401k? What was their insurance plan? Things like that, just so that I could actually compare them without like flipping in between different job offers. It's a lot more helpful that way.
Awesome. Ali?
Yeah, I think Heather covered pretty much everything, but I would like to add that, PTO is really important to check how many days you're getting off. The work culture, maybe discuss with, connect with someone in the team on LinkedIn who works at the company and reach out to them. How is the work culture? Because after coming to the company, it's a lot different, because when I was a student and I got the offer, I was thinking of like money and that's it, maybe. But I think it is important that when I'm in the company now, I feel that I should have asked for how's the work culture, because I think that really makes a difference on how you are day to day, and if you're overburdened, or if the work is a lot hectic, and what are the expectations. I think money is important, but I don't know, like it's everyone's different perspective on how they want to go about that. But or they want to negotiate or whatever, if they think that they're undervalued or whatever. But for me, it was mostly not money, because I think as long as the work is good, or I'm comfortable, I'm enjoying my life, and and money is decent, I think I can live comfortably. But you will always find someone in your peers who will be graduating with a little more money, or they're getting more better offer. But everyone's circumstance is different, right? I had only one offer and I accepted it. I struggled finding job initially, so I had only one offer. I accepted it. But there are people who have like 3 or 4 different offers. They have the leverage to negotiate. They negotiate. I felt there was no need for me and did not negotiate. So it's everyone's circumstance. Maybe it is important. I think I came to you, BJ, to discuss with you my offer. So career services really help. So I think you should go to a counselor, maybe discuss your offer, see if the offer is well enough, because I think career services have an idea on what the offers look like and if they're helpful, uh, and what they should, and if they should proceed with the offer or not. So I think everything like PTO, 401k, work-life balance, and whatever other questions you have, you should clear it out before accepting the offer.
Thank you. Career services, we're always happy to have those conversations when you get job offers, to look through things and try and make sense of things. Cause I know it can be kind of confusing, like looking at a chart for healthcare and try and make sense of what like the different premiums and deductibles and all that stuff means. So we're always happy to have those conversations and have you think through those things. So that's fantastic. So I'm actually gonna go off script a little bit here. I kind of wanted to, I was just thinking a little bit about, this idea of networking and it being important. And I think, for a lot of students, it's hard to like make sense of it. It just sounds like something that's just really like in the ether, like, oh, I just need to go talk to people. And so I'm kind of curious about kind of how you guys have, each made sense of networking and how you've, sustained relationships with people that you started networking with. So like even thinking about going to a career fair, like, what kind of follow-up did you do? And like, how did you follow up? And like, what kind of messages did you send? So I just kind of want to get a little bit more about that. Cause I think, for students that are still in that job search, I think that's, we know that networking is important, but like, how do you make sense of it? And how do you build that structure for yourself, so that, it's really effective for you? So Heather?
Yeah. So my big thing is when I went to virtual career fairs, what was really helpful is I would write down their names and make sure that I spelled them correctly, and then later on go find them on LinkedIn. And something that I still struggle with is I always ask for business cards whenever I'm at a career fair, and I always take notes. So when I would go to the career fair, I would have a little notebook with me, and I would take down like their name, their company, while I was like in line waiting to go up and talk to them. And then I would take notes about something that they talked about that they were passionate about. And then on LinkedIn or on their email, I would email them and be like, oh, remember how we talked about this thing that you're passionate about? Or I would try and make them laugh and then call back to that in my message to make myself be unique, because they're seeing 100 people a day at these career fairs. They're not going to remember you unless you say something unique, or unless if you get something unique out of them. And so that's what I would do. And then just networking events in general. For example, my boyfriend and I just went to his company party, and afterwards, like literally the next day on LinkedIn, I was going through and I was friending people on LinkedIn that I had talked with. Even if it was just like a quick hi, I did it just to expand my network, because you never know 5-10 years down the line how helpful those people can be. So not just add anyone to your LinkedIn network, but you can add a whole bunch of people.
Awesome. Ali?
Yeah. So there are multiple ways we can go about this, right? Connect. Like I think Heather made a really good point about adding uniqueness to the profile, because I was really overwhelmed during this career fair. Now that I was on the other side, I was like, okay, that's why I never got a call after the career fair, because when I was in the career fair, I was like one of like 1,000 people, right, in the line, and I never made an impression. That's why it is always important to make a unique impression. Yeah, but I think it's also like connect. So I've seen that, like, or I've experienced where like if you, I think it's important to go all of to attend these events. Like there's a networking session today, right? And then if anyone comes to me and then reaches out to me and be like, and then connect with me and start a conversation where they can mention anything what I said today and then ask a follow-up question, I'll be happy to connect. But sometimes I've seen that people reach out and they are like, "Hey, I'm from IIT. Can you refer me to this for this position?" And I don't know how I would answer that, because I don't know that person. I have never worked with that person, so I don't know if I'll be able to refer. But I can always like share the positions open to the company. So I think it's important to maintain, to like start a connection and maintain it. And that can happen by attending all these conferences, by attending all these networking events, and connecting to the alumni network, maybe connecting to your seniors right now. So when they get the job, they know you, and then they can refer you maybe, or they can help you navigate. I've seen there were some people from IIT or some students from IIT who contacted me like literally like every day, or like every event we had at IIT, they were there in person, and that's how I remembered their faces. So we had online career fair, we had in-person career fair. They attended both, and that's how I remembered them. And then that's how I referred them for the position, and then that's how they got the job. But I think it's important to like maintain and follow up and have a deep conversation, so that and I think if you are in person, that really helps to actually like uh, to have a talk, and then it actually helps employers to remember you.
Yeah, that's great that you've had that. It's great that you've had that side of the other side of the experience as a recruiter at our fairs and stuff, to see, you know, how people make an impression, and you know, the people that show up and show up again when you show up to the next fair, the next event, you know, really makes an impact. Mahamat, thanks for joining us. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm all right. I'm all right. Nice to meet you.
Likewise. Hi, everybody. Sorry, I was having technical issues earlier getting in.
That's all right. Do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know what you're doing, what you do professionally, and let us know what you did, what you studied at Illinois Tech.
Right. I'm actually a graduating student. I'm graduating this semester.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is my last semester, majoring in chemical engineering for my master's degree. I did my undergrad at University of Illinois, Chicago, graduated 2020. Yeah, and I've been working in the oil and gas industry out here in Houston for the last 6 months with Technip Energies. Um, yeah, and it's been an interesting journey, and yeah.
Okay. Can you talk about your experience of getting the job at Technip? How that worked out? What you did that you know, that helped you get the job?
Well, I would say number one, took advantage of the career services at Illinois Tech, right? Whether you know that be you know, getting my resume leveled up and polished, and also you know, there was a pilot plan mentorship program that I participated in, and I met one of the commercial directors of the company, who is also on the IIT alumni committee, right? And he actually you know, I basically applied. He talked to me about his company, and I applied for a process engineering position while taking classes. And my application, you know, got rejected, and I spoke to him. You know, I said, hey, you know, I see that the positions are available, and I asked him, and he said, reapply. And I would want to, you know, mention that as Miss Heather and Mr. Ali beautifully and you know, tremendously cover a lot of things that I was, you know, thinking about. Networking, it's very important, right? So I would say networking, and also that is, I would say, the second step. The first step would be taking advantage of IIT's career services, right? You know, resume, attending, you know, as many conferences as possible to sort of get a feel of, you know, what's out there and stuff. But I would say mainly from, you know, IIT's pilot pen program. So yeah, that's how I, you know, got my resume in, and I got called for an interview. It was actually a series of interviews, but yeah, it was very interesting, and I ended up you know, getting hired, and yeah, it's been 6 months.
Yeah, it's great to see a success story from our mentorship program. Is anybody else taking part in the mentorship program? Nice, awesome. Definitely when it comes around again, you want to take advantage of that because because we've got a lot of great alumni mentors who are helping out. So so I wanted to I think I'm interested to hear this from Heather to kind of talk about this, this next question of how your goals have changed since graduated from Illinois Tech. I know that you made a pretty big career shift, and I'd be interested in to hear about kind of like the experience that you had, what changed your mindset, and how you made that shift.
Yeah. Well, I thought I wanted to do engineering. I got 2 engineering degrees, and then I got a job doing modeling, which is kind of engineering related, and I got really bored of it, being real honest. And I realized this wasn't for me. I want to do something more interacting with people, but still dealing with math. I don't want to just sit in front of a laptop and not talk to anyone all day long. So when I realized this, I started networking and I started talking to my outside mentor, asking her about what she does. And I started having informational interviews with different people to learn what I'd actually want to do. And from there, I actually had a friend from high school who works at UL, and I talked to her about how I wanted to change my job. And she's like, well, UL's hiring, why don't you apply? And so I applied and I talked to them and I told them what I was looking for. And they found a job for me, and it ended up working out pretty well for me. And I'm really happy with what I do. And it's totally okay to take a job and hate it and then want to change. Like that's super normal, especially when you're like just out of college, because college is very different than the work world. Very, very different. So it's okay to change. It's okay to not know. Like I don't even know what I 100% want to do, and that's totally normal. So don't feel like you're out of your depths. Don't feel like you don't know what you're doing, because trust me, none of us do. It's okay.
Nice, thanks, Heather. Ali, have your goals changed at all since you graduated, or you still kind of on the same path as you thought you were going to be?
It's weird because when you are a student, my goal, especially like when I was a student, my goal was to get I graduate. My goal is to get a job, to graduate, to get a software engineering job, and that's what I did. Right, I got the goal, I accomplished the goal. But what's next now for me? And my plan was to like continue as a software engineer, SE1, SE2, SE3, and grow from there. But when I joined, I think after working, it changes a lot because I think school life is completely different from the work life, as Heather mentioned, and it's completely true. And once you join, your goal actually shifts. Uh, and you think like, okay, well, this is the work I'm supposed to do. Okay, I don't know if I should be able to do this or if I like this work, and it's completely normal. I think because Heather is saying it's okay. So, so yeah. So my goals are currently uh, are like a bit shaky. I think I'm still figuring out what I really want to do in the long run. So far, I think I'm comfortable as a software engineer, but maybe in the future I do something else. Maybe I choose a different path in software engineering. So I have not figured out yet, but I think it's completely normal to have these options open and figure out what you really want to do. I think it's important to also discuss and have a mentor in the I think in my companies and even outside my company, like my alumni network, like IT alumni network is really helpful in this because I had seniors who I constantly reach out to, and then I'm talking to them about my career goals, and they're really helpful in helping me navigate on what should the next steps be. So I'm really open about it, and I discuss with my manager too that okay, so this is what I want to do. What do you think if I should like? What do you think I should do this? What will be next step or next steps? So it's important to like to I think first the goal is to get the job. I think what you think you want to do, and then once you join, it's completely normal to settle down, understand, and do some hard work. And then if you don't like it, then you don't like it. You have to like I don't think I'll be okay working the same job if I don't like it. So it's important to do a job that you like it, right?
All right, thank you. Julie is curious if Heather can share how she chose which job after all those offers.
Yeah, sure. So like I said before, I had an Excel spreadsheet lined up of all the jobs, the time off, the salary, all the benefits. And it really came down to two different companies for me. And I chose a job that gave me a smaller salary, but I wouldn't have to commute. And was doing something more with what I wanted to do. The first job, the two jobs I was between was my one at Wilden, which was an energy specialist, energy modeling, more in the sustainability field. And the other one was, I think it was a civil engineering or some type of engineering job, which was going to be more design work. And I didn't realize at the time that my energy modeling job was also going to be a lot of design work. But I chose Wilden because of that and because of the company culture, like Ali had talked about before. I liked the people I interviewed with. I was able to like joke around with them during my interview, which made me feel a lot more comfortable. And one thing that stood out during the interview is they asked me what type of humor I like. And I was completely caught off guard with that because I laugh at everything. Like I grew up watching like the Three Stooges to the Muppets. Like I'll give me anything. I love humor. And so that was eventually what pulled me towards Wilden. Even though I knew I was going to be paid less, I chose it because I thought it was a better fit. And then in the end, I switched positions or switched companies, which is totally normal and totally okay.
Awesome, thank you. All right, so I want to encourage everybody to add any questions into the chat if you have them for our panelists. But I want to finish with my last question for the panelists, and so I want to think about the first 6 months of a first post-graduation job experience, or in Mohammed's experience pre-graduation, but still a full-time professional job. What advice do you have for those of the people in this room? What should they be thinking about that first 6 months on the job to get their career off on the right foot? Mohammed.
Yes, sure. I would say the first 6 months, I would say try to, learn about the company, the different sides of the company, and connect with people, right? People, whether it's people that would be from your area, your department, or people from other areas, right? So that's the thing that I would say, and also work on having a set of goals that you want to achieve for the first 6 months, right? And try to communicate that with your supervisor or manager, right? And the first 6 months, I would say they don't really expect you to do much, right? So because of that, take full advantage of the sort of time that you have to just kind of connect with people, and just sort of increase visibility, and be curious, and learn the different aspects of the company, not necessarily just your specific area. But for instance, when I first started, I was in process area, right? And I ended up, going up to different, say, project management, cost control, different areas, where I got to know people, connected with people and stuff. And I would say that's what you should focus on for the first 6 months.
Okay, thank you. Ali.
Yeah. So for me, I think for the first 6 months, yeah, Mohammed was pretty clear. I think about, like, I think it's a lot of, it's like you get to know the company initially. You are still figuring out, it's very new, to really understand the place and how the culture is, like what is expected. And I think for I don't know if it's for other positions, other fields, but for software engineering, what I faced was there were so many unknowns for me. because what I studied in school was a bit different than what actually I had to do for my deliverables in person here. Uh, so it was so there was a lot of learning involved. So there was a lot of hard work, sure, but also like be clear to your manager, align the goals, and then um, communicate. Communicate your goals, communicate what you are like, what are the problems, right? How the managers can help you, how they can like assist you for, because at the end of the day, it's your career, and you want to be successful ahead, right? You want to have a good career path, whatever you want, you should have, and there should not be any challenges or any blockers along the way. So if there are any blockers, it's important to like discuss directly, schedule something with your manager, and then just discuss, and then hopefully they are able to help you. Um, but I think it's pretty good. But what I faced was what I feel right now is like there are school life is different than work life. I think it's like more 9 to 5, and then after that, for me, it's like okay, and really all my friends were in my school. Now I'm a little bit like by myself, so it's like it's a shift from like school experience to work experience. So I tried to find like I got involved in like I found new hobbies. So now I play tennis, and then I work out, and then I figure out like different activities which I can do, because what different activities that I can do and spend time, because I think it gets challenging, it gets to your head, and then it's important to take off time and relax, and then also experience, also enjoy, and just not work all the time. So that's what I think.
Heather, thank you, Holly.
My piece of advice was to join at least one club or organization. So at IIT, we have a whole bunch of clubs, and it's very normal for companies to also have clubs. So at UL, I joined a mentorship program. Surprise, surprise. And I am looking to be paired up with someone who's in a higher position and has been at UL longer than me. And then I also joined, I think it's like a women's group at UL, but I would try to at least join one organization so that you get to talk to people that are outside of your little niche. Because I know that in some companies, like the software engineers only talk to the software engineers, and the electrical engineers only talk to the electrical engineers. And so it's nice to get yourself out there to talk and to meet a whole bunch of people. And I would also suggest that if you end up getting a virtual job or a job where you work hybrid, to at least try and go to 1 or 2 big company events in your first 6 months. That way you can actually talk and meet people in person, because in-person connections I feel are a lot better and like richer than virtual connections. So those would be my 2 pieces of advice.
Great, thank you, Heather. So we have a couple questions in the chat. Solomon, so I think he's he's interested in how does it feel like working a student job on campus as an international student. Because it looks like, Solomon, you can, if you want to explain a little more, is this about the skills that you gain from an on-campus job that can be used in the professional world?
Yeah, something like that, because I just got admitted in the institution, and I was in search of a social security number. And it's like I had to work there, even though I was planning to work there, like on campus and off campus. So I just wanted to know how it feels like.
Did any of you guys have on-campus jobs? Yeah, both of you did. Okay, awesome. Did you guys feel like there was anything that was like really transferable from on campus to the real world?
Yeah, I can go. It was a complete change for me. I was an international student when I came here, and it and I was like not. I think it took me a while to like adjust in the country and adjust in the university as well. I was a bit of an introvert initially. I was hesitant talking to people and connecting to them and network with them. So, and then my first job, I think, was at Office of Research, and then the second job was at the Office of Residence Life. I was a resident advisor, and then I went from there. But I think after joining as a resident advisor, it completely changed for me. I started talking to a lot of people, and now I cannot stop talking. So I think it really helped me actually get network, get adjusted to the university, connect to people, talk to people. I got more confidence. It changed me a lot. I think it changed me the most while working on campus, and I started feeling less homesick as well when I started working because I was busy working and not just spending time studying. So that helped. Uh, I made a lot of friends in the university. So it's really, really important. Like whatever opportunity you get, and if even if it's not paid, I think you should go for it. You learn something. You learn something at the end of the day. And I think my behavioral interviews and also like my technical interviews were really good at Granger because of that, because I got more confidence and then I was able to talk to people really casually, and I had confidence when I was giving my interviews.
Great.
Thank you very much.
And Heather, you've chimed in on the salary negotiation. Looks like you got some great tips here, and so yeah, like Heather's saying here, like every company is expecting a negotiation. Like I think it's definitely the standard. But Heather, do you have anything to add on the on-campus job discussion, or did you want to talk about negotiation a little bit more? Either one.
So for on-campus jobs, you can always sell yourself better. So for example, I worked in the bog, and so it doesn't really, like fixing bowling alleys doesn't really equal a corporate job, does it? So you have to be able to talk about yourself in a way that makes it sound better than what you actually did. So for example, I was a person training everyone on bowling alleys and how to fix a bowling alley. So I was able to say that I helped train people to fix them, but that also can work out later on, where if I become a manager, I can train people at my current company, just like I did people at my student job. So make sure that you always use what you have and make it sound better, because you're amazing. So talk yourself up.
Great.
Thank you.
All right. We have one more. Are we starting the next session at 5:45? Okay, we do still have some time. Awesome. So we have a couple questions here. Well, not one other question here. So how to tackle the question of H-1B sponsorship, if it's needed or not? Because whenever we say we need it, that narrows down our options for hiring. However, companies know that international students are allowed to work for 3 years. So how do you advocate for yourself as an international candidate? Ali, you might have some experience here to add something to this.
Yeah, so Granger doesn't actually sponsor for H-1B. It's really funny because I was an international student. I was an international student, not anymore, but I was an international student. So I had this difficulty where I was applying to companies and they asked me, okay, do you need sponsorship? And I had to say no. And then they said, okay, thank you for interviewing, and then we cannot proceed, blah, blah, blah. But I think what Granger does differently is that they don't ask you if you get selected through the career fair. So if that's why I found out that that's a good way to, like, if you just go through career fair and then apply, if you go to the career fair and then you get an interview offer, they don't really ask you that question of H-1B sponsorship. So, and then they hired me, and then I told them, okay, I need H-1B sponsorship, and then they applied for my sponsorship. Usually it's a tricky question. I don't think I can help you with that. Companies don't usually sponsor. Like I had this issue, but if you just keep trying, you will find a company, I think, all my friends who were international, they ended up finding a company that actually sponsors them. So it's like hard work, and you also need, if you get, I think it's also luck. So yeah, just keep applying, and then you'll find a company who will sponsor you. But there is no way you can tackle that question. It's better that they don't ask you during the interview. Granger never asked me, so that helped me. But I don't know how to tackle that question.
We've got a lot of questions coming in through the chat, but I wanted to see if anybody out here has any questions, because I don't want to forget about you guys. Any questions for the panelists? It's okay. We got plenty of questions in the chat. So, all right. What do we got? Got asking. Let's see. We've had the question of asking for more money. How do you go about asking for more money? Okay. And then Heather added some thoughts. I know I feel guilty, but what makes me feel better is to look up the annual revenue the company takes in. If the company you're applying to makes 2 billion, asking for 5K or 10, 15K more is nothing compared to the money they take in. Awesome. Awesome. Any other thoughts? Let's see. Wait, did I miss one here? When you ask somebody about what their work culture is like at their company, what specific aspects should you ask questions about? So that's a good question. I think Julie gave some thoughts, but for any of the panelists, when you're asking someone about what the work culture what the work culture is like at their company, what specific aspects should you ask about? What are appropriate questions?
I can start with this. So as a woman in a male dominated field, I know one question that I ask that does make interviewers uncomfortable, but I know I need to know is it like a guy's, like, is it a boys club? Is it like a white boys club? Because I know if I'm joining a company, I'm not going to feel comfortable if I'm the only woman, I'm the only minority in that group. I need to know if there are people of color, if there are LGBTQIA people at the company, and if there's other women besides like your stereotypical women secretaries. So I know it's uncomfortable, but I always ask that. For company culture, I ask about humor, I ask about company events. It's very normal for companies to have like a big Christmas party or a holiday party. And it's good to know like if their holiday party is just them like going out for lunch, or if it's like a full-blown event where they rent like a ballroom and like there's like dinner and drinks and dancing, because it will show what kind of company culture you're working with. Yeah, I think those are my answers.
Any other thoughts on that one from the panel?
No, I just missed my holiday party today because of this conference, because of this meetup session.
I would add that you might want to ask whether like the type of dress code that they have, right? And also the different I think Heather mentioned that already earlier, the different types of organizations that they have, to sort of the things such as like employee programs for employee to sort of enjoy outside work and different things. And also you can ask whether you can actually even ask about companies' sponsorship for certain activities outside work, and different volunteering activities and so on and so forth.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right, I think we covered most of the stuff here. I think we got either questions answered in the chat or in person. So So I think the final question, so Shobham and Sahil, whenever, it's really important to be honest in just any of the questions, because they always ask the same questions at companies. Will you ever need sponsorship in the future? And it's just really important to be honest about that, just because if you get too far down the line with the company, it can start to burn some bridges if you start lying about those questions. Even if it means it doesn't mean you're going to get a job with that company, but it can be really frustrating for a company trying to make hires if they, especially if they have a rock solid policy that they can't change, which is usually the case. It can cause some real rifts in that relationship if you want to work for them in the future. So if it's an internship, whether it's a full-time, you just need to be honest and straightforward, I think, with that question, so that you don't burn that bridge down the road. So, all right. Well, I'm going to wrap this up now.